I witnessed myself be reborn, but not in a labor kind of way, just in a, I stem up, more or less. I just kind of stemmed and showed up. And then this lady who's hooded, I don't see her face, she's just dressed in all black, picks me up, and then she tells me, "You're a beautiful boy, you have a beautiful life. Let's go see it."
The following video does not glorify drug use, but instead it intends to promote harm reduction by discouraging the ignorant use of specific drugs, as well as harm elimination by discouraging certain people from using specific drugs altogether. There is no right or wrong way to consume these substances, but there are unsafe and safer ways, and what's more comfortable for one person may be more dangerous for another. Before watching this video, please understand that psychedelic experiences may not be entirely predictable, but that doesn't mean that bad trips and good trips are random. Rather, it means psychedelic experiences are influenced by factors such as the individual's given setting, and dosage at that specific point in their life. Therefore, you will not experience what these people have experienced, but you could potentially experience something similar. However, these are random people, so please do not make decisions based on what they say without your own due diligence. And also, take note, once again, that these substances affect everyone differently, especially those with pre-existing mental conditions.
Well, I feel like it's important to start with the first one since that's the one that's stuck with me the most. So the way I set up my, I guess, where I do DMT, I have this, I have my office that I use for school. Like my computer's there, all my home, like all my documents are there for my university classes. And then there's a couch. So I lie down on that couch. I close all the lights. I just lie down. And then, so the first time I didn't meditate, I didn't do anything. I just kind of stressed out for 5 minutes before taking the first hit. And then, yeah, next thing you know, I take a few hits. First hit, my eyes are closed. Things start to ripple a bit, like a ripple of colors kind of just show up. Bit of ringing in my ears. My face starts feeling very warm. Second hit, kind of like an explosion of colors, but I knew I could do one more. Third hit, I do it, and then from there, I didn't break through, but I did more or less disassociate with my body. So I'm in this valley, kind of like the valley you would see in the Windows XP background, if you know what I'm talking about. And instead of it being grass, it's just a valley of black triangles with RGB colors in the middle. So that's that valley. And then I'm just looking around, it's infinite, and then gestures pop up. And it's just an infinite line of them going back from smallest to biggest, and it's just continuous. And yeah, so I'm looking around, I just see these gestures. You would think that that's very scary, but in the moment I felt very peaceful. It felt very peaceful, and I felt comfortable. And I would hear somebody speaking, but it wasn't like the English language or any other language I speak. It was a very bizarre language that in the moment I understood, but the second I woke up, I completely forgot about it. So that was my first ever trip. It was just seeing gestures and a valley of black triangles. And yeah, I woke up very confused. That's when I realized, like, okay, yeah, like this is serious. There's a lot more to psychedelics than I initially thought. So I guess, okay, here for my next one. Like I said, I wasn't completely, I did my research about DMT for like a good 2-3 months beforehand, but I guess as you get excited, you tend to forget those things. So for my second time, I did this, I believe the day after, or 2 days after the first time. I did this one open-eyed, and this was my first bad trip. So I took DMT very casually, and as if somebody would take a dab pen, just sitting on my couch, ripping it, and I had my eyes open the whole time, which in theory you're not supposed to do. Everything starts getting very vibrant. I had purple LEDs on my wall, and it goes very, very bright. My couch is starting to look very like geometric. Everything becomes smooth, kind of like the Minecraft cartoon texture pack, if that rings a bell to anybody, but it kind of looked like that, jokes aside. At one point, this feeling became very overwhelming. I was hearing sounds, I wasn't very happy with it, and every time I try to close my eyes, I would see the devil pop up. So if ever, you try to close your eyes to just be in a safe space, like under your sheets in your bed or something, I couldn't do that because my eyes closed were a danger space. So I pretty much just tried to keep my eyes open for as long as possible. And after what felt like an hour, but was really 5 minutes, everything went back to normal. So that was my first bad trip and my first open-eyed trip. And yeah, since then I've definitely taken a lot more precaution doing DMT. It's not something you can take casually. And that's kind of what it made me realize that, yeah, it's not a toy. There's a reason it's the most potent psychedelic in the world. So yeah, that was the second trip. From there, it gets a little fuzzy because I was having issues with my cart. The battery wasn't working properly. But the most significant trip after that was the one I posted on Reddit, the one that you saw. I'll go into detail about that one really. So for that trip, that was my most serious one. At that point, I had done DMT a handful of times, and I didn't see psychedelics as a experience only. I saw it as a spiritual thing as well. So I meditated for a good 10 minutes. I set my intentions, saying that I pretty much just said I want to see what I want to see. I want to see what I'm supposed to be seeing, or supposed to be shown. And yeah, I laid on my couch, take 3 rips. On my third one, I don't even feel the pen anymore. I don't feel my hand. One of my other hand is lying on my chest. I don't feel that. My legs are paralyzed, and I genuinely just blast it off. So I blast off. I show up in this pitch black room, and then triangles start to appear, kind of like the valley I mentioned in my first ever trip. And I see colors in every triangle. I witnessed myself be reborn, but not in a labor kind of way, just in I stem up, more or less. I just kind of stemmed and showed up. And then this lady who's hooded, I don't see her face, she's just dressed in all black, picks me up, and then she tells me, "You're a beautiful boy, you have a beautiful life. Let's go see it." I go down this tunnel, and as I said, I'm 20, so I see the most notable events in my life. So let's say elementary school, certain like recesses that have stuck with me in elementary school, then going to high school, all my friends, the different friend groups I've had, then my first girlfriend, the breakup, my first love, then university, then my just friends, my trip to Portugal that I did, things like that. It really just did show me the last 20 years, genuinely. And as we go at the end of the tunnel, she's like, "See, you've had a beautiful life. You have a lot more ahead of you. Keep going. You're doing great." And then just pushes me off. And that's when I wake up. And I woke up pretty much on the verge of tears, because that was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So that's why I titled the post, "I lived 20 years and 5 minutes," because it is the truth. So that's my most profound trip to date.
Did you experience any long-term effects?
If you want to consider this effects, I guess I see things more brightly, in the sense that I'm more grateful for things. But in terms of like, I'm having visual hallucinations or auditory hallucinations or foggy mind or whatever, then no, I see things a lot more brightly, in the sense that, yeah, I'm very grateful for things. There's no time to be negative really anymore. It's a waste of time. There's a reason I'm here. It could have been anybody else, but I am who I am. And I really have had a great life, and just to enjoy every moment, really. It just made me more grateful. That's the best way to put it.
What factors do you think contributed to the outcome of that experience? So why do you think that experience affected you the way it did? Why do you think it happened the way it did?
I want to say it's because I actually meditated that time. I didn't take it as a joke. I really did sit down, meditate, set my intentions. I cleaned up my room. Having a clean room is the most important thing. And yeah, just the fact that I took it very seriously, I showed the drug the utmost respect, and I cleared my mind up, let myself go, didn't fight it back. I think that's what contributed the most. So besides that, there's 2 more stories I suppose are kind of interesting to talk about. So there's my first ever breakthrough. This one's going to seem very weird, but it was the first breakthrough. It was my first disassociated event. The same concept, where this time I meditated, but I didn't set intentions, and my room was already cleaned. So I ripped my pen, and next thing you know, I pop up in a prism, or like a rectangular room per se. And it's a room very, very colorful. The walls are melting in rainbow colors. So it's just constantly shifting colors. And then in the middle, there's this man who's completely bald, sitting down and praying in like the Buddha position or monk position. And I'm just kind of flying around, circling him from the top, getting closer and closer. And then as I get closer, something stopped me. And whenever I would try to think of my body to see if I was still there, the colors would ripple even more. So that's when I really truly realized that, okay, I am not physically here anymore. I'm somewhere else. And yeah, I woke up after that. That's when I realized, yeah, I truly did break through. And my theory is that the man in the middle praying is one of my entities. Same thing as how that woman in the hooded figure was. And the only way I can get closer to him is if I break through once again in a more clear mind, which to date I have not been able to do. And then the most different trip I've ever had, this one I also posted on Reddit, and yeah, this one I found very weird. So this was the night where I did DMT, like for 30 minutes, where I just would rip it time after time. The first 2 trips were really nothing crazy, just like basic geometrical shapes, hallucinations, etc. The third time I rip it, I get transported into this different dimension per se. And I am an 80-year-old man playing chess in an attic during World War I with other elders. And I remember the details very vividly. I remember the lighting scheme, the lantern, the chairs folded up on the side of the wall, the single window that was outlooking the streets of Paris, seeing like planes fly by, and we were playing chess, having conversations in French, and I won the chess game, but the thing is I don't know how to play chess. So I woke up from that very confused. It was almost as if it's almost as if I lived a previous life. But yeah, that happened, and that was my most unique trip to date. Like I genuinely did live a different life for a second there.
I guess my question to you now is, do you know how to play chess?
I don't. I have no idea how to play chess, and I tried again after it. I don't know how.